Today is a sad day for Bad Chad Customs, because behind the noise of the workshop, the unfinished builds, and Chad's relentless determination to keep moving forward, something happened that changed everything. Chad was still building, still grinding, and still pushing through life at full speed, but behind the scenes, a devastating loss was about to shake the people closest to him. It began with the call. Jolene never wanted to receive the news that her mother had passed away. In an instant, the world around her changed, and the path she and Chad had been walking together suddenly became much heavier. But that raises difficult questions. Did Jolene step away while Chad was facing one of the darkest periods of his life? Where was Chad's son, Colton, during all of this, and what happened to Chad's life and the workshop after Jolene was no longer beside him every single day? If Bad Chad's work has ever inspired you, take a moment to like this video and show your support, because this story goes far beyond custom cars. When Bad Chad Customs first arrived on television in 2019, viewers were introduced to something completely different from the polished world of traditional car shows. There was no enormous state-of-the-art facility, no spotless million-dollar showroom, and no endless line of wealthy clients waiting for perfect restorations. Instead, there was a cramped garage in rural Nova Scotia, and a builder who seemed capable of seeing possibilities where everyone else saw junk. Chad wasn't simply restoring old cars, he was transforming forgotten pieces of metal into wild, unpredictable creations that somehow became works of art. Old Chrysler bodies, scrap frames, strange parts, damaged panels, and whatever else he could find could all become part of the next impossible project. If Bad Chad's work has ever inspired you, take a moment to like this video and show your support, because this story goes far beyond custom cars. When Bad Chad Customs first arrived on television in 2019, viewers were introduced to something completely different from the polished world of traditional car shows. There was no enormous state-of-the-art facility, no spotless million-dollar showroom, and no endless line of wealthy clients waiting for perfect restorations. Instead, there was a cramped garage in rural Nova Scotia, and a builder who seemed capable of seeing possibilities where everyone else saw junk. Chad wasn't simply restoring old cars, he was transforming forgotten pieces of metal into wild, unpredictable creations that somehow became works of art. Old Chrysler bodies, scrap frames, strange parts, damaged panels, and whatever else he could find could all become part of the next impossible project. It became a world of its own, where creativity, pressure, family, business, and personal struggles all existed under the same roof. That is what makes the next chapter so important, because when something changes inside a world built around such intense relationships, the effects can reach far beyond the garage. And after Jolene received that devastating call, the story of Bad Chad Customs was no longer simply about what Chad could build with his hands. It became about what happens when the people holding that world together begin facing losses and challenges that no custom car can fix. Then, just as Bad Chad Customs was beginning to build serious momentum on television, reality delivered another unexpected challenge. Issues surrounding the Green Goblin name created a complicated licensing problem, bringing lawyers, paperwork, and decisions that had nothing to do with building cars. The fame that once threatened to swallow him is now just a side effect of the real story. A kid who walked into a garage decided he was done being unhappy with his life, and built a new one with his own hands. What really happened to Chad Hiltz? He didn't vanish because of one dramatic explosion. He didn't fall apart in front of the cameras. His life wasn't ruined by a single dark secret. What happened is slower, more human, and honestly more interesting. Bad Chad didn't lose his life when the camera stopped rolling. He finally got it. He found a life that mattered on his own terms, built with sweat, grit, and family by his side. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. The message was clear. Continuing to use the name commercially was no longer a simple option, so the rebrand began. Signs had to change, merchandise had to be redesigned, and the website, social media accounts, sponsorships, and other parts of the business had to transition toward Hiltz Auto Co. On paper, it was the smart business decision, but for a small operation already struggling to keep up with television deadlines, rebuilding an entire brand added another layer of pressure. And then the world itself changed. The pandemic disrupted supply chains, tightened filming restrictions, and made an already demanding production schedule even harder to manage. The fast-paced, against-the-clock builds that had become part of Chad's identity were suddenly more difficult and expensive to produce. Television is complicated even when everything goes according to plan, but during this period, almost nothing was going according to plan. A new YouTube episode dropped, a land speed record bike build, with Chad in full flow and Colton right by his side. The shop doesn't look like the old TV crew anymore. It looks more like a family classroom, fewer people, more trust, and a quiet focus you can't fake. Chad doubled down on something he could control: YouTube, his own shop, and his own rules. The Bad Chad channel became the new window into his world. Unpolished daily grind videos at first, slowly evolving into a consistent stream of builds, fixes, and behind-the-scenes shop life. Alongside that came Hiltz Auto Co's online store, shirts, hats, hoodies, and Green Goblin-themed gear, all feeding back into the shop. By 2025, some outlets estimated his net worth around $2 million. Not rockstar money, but proof that the combination of TV, custom work, and brand building had turned that tiny shop into a serious business.